What's crack-a-lack? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know so, and this is another 2020 NFL mock draft. We're doing 2 rounds today. I want to get this out before too many people declare and this becomes obsolete. We've already seen Marvin Williams return and Dylan Moses, so I'm going to go ahead, pump this out. 2 rounds, that way everybody gets a pick, you know? And if you haven't already, become a bro and subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps it get discovered, really helps the channel grow, and yeah, much obliged. But let's go ahead, let's get in and let's talk NFL draft. We're gonna start with the first pick, and we got Joe Burrow. It's obvious. I mean, we saw how he decimated Oklahoma. A lot of people could say Chase Young could be this pick, but I mean, you get your face of the franchise. You get the savior from Ohio, the Ohio native, Joe Burrow. He's perfect for Zach Taylor's offense. He's kind of reminiscent of Jared Goff when he came out. Keep that in mind. Jared Goff when he came out. Not Jared Goff now, but when he came out. The potential. So it's kind of like that. And the Redskins, they go ahead, they get Chase Young. They get the best player in the draft, best player on the board. You could say Andrew Thomas, but I mean, yeah, I think you go value over need. You go with the better player, the better prospect. That's Chase Young. Lions, this is kind of a tough pick right here because you could go Okada, you could go AJ Epinesa. I was thinking about that, but I just went ahead with Simmons because I think you could get edge later, you could get cornerback. It's a deep cornerback class later, and then Detroit, their corners are actually they're playing a little better. Or they played better to end the year. So I went with Isaiah Simmons. He's kind of like a nickel or dime type linebacker, and he provides the coverage you don't get from Jarrad Davis. Jarrad Davis is more of a pass rusher, kind of old school tackler than an actual cover man. He's not good in coverage. So Isaiah Simmons, good pick there. And yeah, okay, the Giants, they address offensive line. They get Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas has been phenomenal for the most part all year. He doesn't really have a bad game on tape. And let's be honest, I mean, with how often Daniel Jones fumbles the football, you got to rely on, you need someone better than Nate Solder and Mike Remmers. So yeah, you get Andrew Thomas. Now, on to the next picks. I got the Dolphins going with Jeffrey Okudah. Okudah, man, he's probably the best corner in this draft. He's been phenomenal all year. Now with Xavier Howard also having the domestic assault allegation and whatnot, it's kind of murky for the secondary, and they could really use another guy. You could say Tua, but I don't know. I'm kind of in this state of limbo when it comes to the Dolphins drafting Tua. Some weeks they definitely should do that, and other weeks I'm like, man, it's kind of a glass cannon. But we got the Chargers. They get a quarterback. Phillip Rivers is a free agent, so they get their quarterback. Herbert, he fits the bill as far as the size and arm strength, arm talent. He's gonna go in top 10 just because of how talented his arm is. I know he's done some disappearing acts this season, and that was kind of also reminiscent of the year before, but you can't deny the talent. And the Chargers, they get Herbert. You get a guy you can plug and play. It's not going to be a big rebuild. Panthers go Tua. What? I know, that's crazy, right? New regime typically means new quarterback. They could bring Cam Newton back because he's not a free agent. He's got 1 more year on the contract, I believe. And then Kyle Allen, he was decent. So, I mean, either or. You could start one of those 2 guys while you kind of see what goes on with Tua. Let him get healthy. Let him get ready. And then you got your quarterback of the future from there on out. Cardinals, Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa. They need help on the line. Tristan Wirfs, he's super athletic. I think he's very underrated. I don't know. I see a lot of people try to hate on Wirfs. Wirfs is just, he's super strong. Like I said, extremely athletic, former wrestler. The Cardinals, they need some help on the line. This gives your franchise quarterback a franchise tackle. And then the Jaguars, they go Jerry Jeudy. They get a receiver. They get arguably maybe the best receiver in this draft. CeeDee Lamb's he's up there with them. So really, it's kind of like it's 1A, 1B. Kind of like pick what you like. Are you a chocolate guy or are you a vanilla guy? You know. So they get Jerry Jeudy. He should match very well with DJ Chark and D.D. Westbrook. And that gives Minshew or Foles, whoever the heck the quarterback is next season, a ton of weapons. And then the Browns, no secret, they need offensive line. Jedrick Wills, he's flying up a lot of boards. He had a phenomenal year. He's one of the biggest risers in this draft class. He's super strong, and he's basically plug and play, and they do need help on the edge there. And then the Jets, I was kind of hoping for a tackle to fall. You could go Josh Jones here. You could go Alex Leatherwood, but Epenesa's still on the board. They desperately need a pass rusher. They need some help on that defense. AJ Epinesa with the ability to kick inside or out, he gives you that. Raiders, they go CeeDee Lamb. They get a receiver. They get their big, strong receiver. The guy's a playmaker. The guy's been phenomenal all year for Oklahoma, and dare I say, he might be the number one receiver in this draft. Like I said, him and Jeudy. Are you a chocolate guy or are you a vanilla guy? So they get a receiver to help out Derek Carr in their move to Las Vegas. And then on to the Colts. They go Derek Brown. There was no quarterback I was really wanting to jump on here, thinking, and since they have an early pick in the second round, they could kind of pick whatever quarterback falls to them there if they really want to. Instead, they address the defensive interior. They could use a little more pass rush. They could use a little more ability to stop the run. Derek Brown, he fits all that. He was a phenomenal pass rusher second half of the season, and he's always been a great run defender. He's just, Derek Brown. Everyone knows Derek Brown. And then the Bucks, they go Alex Leatherwood. They don't want to replace their quarterback either, just because there's none I really want to pick here at this point. The interior of this offensive line is actually pretty good with Jensen and Marpet, but Leatherwood, they could use upgrades at tackles. They're getting older at tackle, as well as they're not that great on the tackle position. So they get Leatherwood, who also has a great versatility. You can play inside and out. Broncos, they get a receiver. They get a guy to match up with Cortland Sutton. They get Laviska Shenault Jr. The guy's phenomenal. He's a big playmaker, one of the most, I guess, elusive. The guy just breaks tackles like nobody's business. I like this pick here. Help your new franchise quarterback. They already said Drew Lock. Hey, he's quarterback for next year. Get him more weapons. Falcons, they played themselves into a later pick. Good job, Falcons. But Dan Quinn, he'll be back next year, so they get a Dan Quinn type of guy. Christian Fulton, probably one of the best press man corners in this draft. On to 17, and we're talking Cowboys. They're going Grant Delpit, safety out of LSU. They tried to make a move earlier in the year on Jamal Adams. Couldn't get him. Price was too much, so they go ahead. They get their safety. There's a safety they apparently really wanted here. It's tough to say what the Cowboys do because they got a lot of free agents. They got a lot of people they need to re-sign. So until they kind of go with that, this is kind of going to be a murky pick. Dolphins, they go Jordan Love. This is a bit of a reach, in my opinion. I got a second round grade on Jordan Love, but we can't argue the talent is there. It's just there's no substance to it. He had a really rough year last year. Granted, new coach. He saw a lot of his playmakers leave for the draft last season, and he threw like 17 picks this year. So it was kind of a rough year for Jordan Love, but you can't deny the talent. Plus, with the Dolphins, he doesn't have to start right away. Ryan Fitzpatrick got another year on contract. I say you go with Fitzmagic, man. He's done miracles. Just ask the Patriots. And you could kind of build around while you're kind of nurturing this new quarterback. And then the Raiders, they go Javon Kinlaw. I wanted to go corner here, but Kinlaw, he's kind of fallen. Not through any fault of his own. He just happened to be falling in this draft. That's what happens in the draft. Players fall. So they go ahead and they get him. They get another guy that could be a phenomenal pass rusher on the inside next to Hurst. And that should be able to help out their edge because, I mean, Max Crosby had a phenomenal year. But, Farrell, this kind of helps them. It also helps them play better against the run because Kinlaw's just phenomenal. So they address the defensive line. I would like to see linebacker, but they'll probably go with a veteran there. So what a lot of teams do rather than draft a linebacker, they just go with the trusted veteran. And there's no linebacker I would draft this early that's not Isaiah Simmons. And then Jaguars, they get Jalen Ramsey's I don't want to say heir apparent, I guess replacement, Trevon Diggs. He's played very good this year. He has one kind of, and it's not even a terrible game against LSU. It was an up and down game. He lost some, he won some. That's the cornerback position. It's very volatile. But outside of that, he's played extremely well. He's got great size, so that's the pick here. They get a receiver and a corner in the first round. And then the Eagles, I really wanted to go Henry Ruggs, but the secondary is so bad for the Eagles. They get Bryce Hall, who basically is made for this this defense. He is one of the best cover 3 corners in this draft. And yeah, you got to keep hitting on the position until you get it right. So they go Bryce Hall. He was probably the best corner that this year before. It was a shame. He should have really came out. Would have been a first-round pick. Still is. But now there's a lot more competition. And then the Titans, they kind of have the luxury to do whatever they want with this pick, because it looks like they're set on offense. You re-sign Tannehill. I know it doesn't sound sexy, but the guy's won for you. So they go ahead, they address the edge. Cameron Wake coming to the end of his career. They get a more potentially a dynamic, a guy who's still developing. Yatir Gross-Matos. He has 3 or more pressures in every game this season. The guy, he fits the bill. Bill fans might not like this pick, but I love Travis Etienne. Typically, one running back goes in the first round every year. Etienne, if you watch that playoff game, the guy's phenomenal. He's just a playmaker. He's a home run threat, and he gives you the pass catcher out of the backfield that Devin Singletary, he's not the best pass catcher out of the backfield, but you get Etienne, you get a good combo, 1-2 combo right there. You get someone that can really help Josh Allen. And then the Vikings, they go corner, of course they do. CJ Henderson, not having a great year, kind of been rough for him, but the guy's going to test phenomenally. He challenges every ball. Like I've said this in past videos, if a receiver catches on him, then that catch was earned. That's the type of player Henderson is. He's a Mike Zimmer type of guy, man to man. So we're going to go with Henderson there. And then Dolphins back for their 3rd pick, Curtis Weaver. Curtis Weaver. He's a tough one to figure out where he'll go in this draft. But he's the most prolific pass rusher this past season, not Chase Young. That's not Chase Young. So they go ahead, they get their edge, which is it's looking super nice. They got a corner, they got an edge. Yeah, they need to address offense, but they could do that in free agency. They got a lot of money, and they could do that with a few of their other picks. They actually have quite a few in this draft. And then the Seahawks, they get help on the offensive line. They get Josh Jones. The guy he's been phenomenal. He's been great. He might have, we'll kind of decide at the Senior Bowl. He might have some technique flaws. Just coming out of Houston, because we saw that with Ed Oliver when he had his pro day, when he went to the combine. He had technique flaws. The raw talent's there, but we'll see a little bit more during the offseason process. But they go ahead, they address the offensive line. Patriots, they get Hunter Bryant, tight end. They really need more playmakers on the offense. I think a lot of Brady's struggles this year, not even Brady struggling, but the offensive struggles is they have really no one reliable outside of James White and Edelman. So they get here on Hunter Bryant. He's been compared to Evan Ingram. I think that's I'd reel back on that. I think Evan Ingram at least provides a little bit as an inline blocker. Hunter Bryant, I don't think he'll be able to do that, but he's kind of I think he's like 250, maybe 235, but he's kind of a slender 250, 235. So yeah, Hunter Bryant, you get a playmaker at tight end. Henry Ruggs, I don't know how he falls here. It just happens. Players fall in drafts, and Saints, they jump on him. They get their replacement for Ted Ginn Jr. So he's phenomenal. He's not just fast, but he's a very smooth route runner. Quite possibly he could return actually for another year if he wants to. I don't know why. He's gonna be a first round talent, my boy. And then the Chiefs, they get Jordan Elliott out of Missouri. This guy's flying up boards. He had a phenomenal year. I don't know what's the situation with Chris Jones. I don't know if they're gonna because I think his contract coming up due, right? Yes, it is. Okay. So with if anything, even if they do re-sign Chris Jones, they get him a competent running mate, right there in the middle. I know the defense has been much better down the stretch, but doesn't hurt to just keep adding to that defense because the offense is already stacked. Packers, T. Higgins out of Clemson. This is probably you could basically put this in for every mock draft. I love T. Higgins to the Packers. I think he could be a great receiver for Rodgers. The guy's big. He's got good speed. He's just perfect there. And then the 49ers, they go corner. You might be like, why? Jalen Johnson, though, out of Utah. Guy that's flying up a lot of boards. I think he's great for this defense. And I know they're pretty deep at corner, but Richard Sherman's not going to be there forever. Mosley's looked all right this year. And then you got, Williams and Witherspoon there as well. But like I said, corner is a very volatile position. So you could bring multiple guys. Because like I said, it's a volatile position. There's ups, there's downs. So you just keep adding, and he really fits this defense. He really, really does. And then at the end of the first round, K'Lavon Chaisson to the Ravens. They need more pass rush. They need a pass rush. The pass rush they're getting right now is because it's designed, it's schemed that way. They don't have an actual true force. And Chaisson in the playoffs, man, and honestly, this whole season, he's been a force. He might be a little light, but that just gives him a little versatility to play around that back end, kind of like a Dante Hightower. So I like this pick for Baltimore. Excuse me, I'm sick, so I'm like, oh, my nose is just running. But let's start the second round. We got the Bengals back on the clock. They get Tyler Biadasz out of Wisconsin. They need help on the offensive line. They could add some pieces there. Zach Taylor, I assume they're going to run a little bit more of a zone blocking scheme. He is ideal for that. Colts, they get their quarterback, Jacob Eason. I know he looks terrible under pressure, but the beautiful thing about that Colts offensive line is they don't allow a lot of pressure. So Jacob Eason, I think, is a good quarterback they could develop. And then Detroit, they go ahead, they get Julian Akawara, the guy. I think he'll be able to test at the combine, which he'll blow it out of the water. But currently injured. But hey, you get the brothers back together. You get the bands back together there in Detroit. And you go to the Giants. They go ahead. They get an edge. They get Terrell Lewis out of Alabama. This is a guy I think could sneak into the first round. He's played extremely well this year. He's been the star on that Alabama defense. Then the Dolphins, they go running back. They need a running back. They need playmakers. So they go DeAndre Swift out of Georgia. The guy is phenomenal. Probably the best receiving back in this draft. So they go ahead. They get a running back. And then we got the Chargers going offensive line. You got to protect your new quarterback. They get Becton out of Louisville. The guy's a mountain. Physical tools are immense. He decided to come out early, which I was a bit surprised at. But, it honestly looks like he could be a borderline late first to early second round pick. And he kind of fits what the Chargers look for in their offensive line, or at least what they've pursued with Fluker and Okun. And then the Panthers, they go offensive line as well. Isaiah Wilson out of Georgia. This guy's a bit of a mystery. I haven't really checked out much of his stuff this year. But, if you decide to declare that, typically it means you were given a first or a second round grade, because they give you they tell you, hey, you're gonna be a first, hey, you're gonna be a second, or they're like, you should go back to school. They don't give you any more grades after that. So I assume he got a second round projection, so that's why he's coming out. And honestly, I don't think but Darrell Williams, he plays better at right tackle. That's kind of his position, but they've played him at guard. He's a free agent after this year. So they go ahead, they get a tackle to protect really whoever's playing quarterback there. And then the Cardinals, they get Kenneth Murray. The guy, his second half of the year has been phenomenal. My big gripe on him was he wasn't a playmaker. Well, second half of the year, he's been a playmaker. We already know he's extremely athletic. He's going to be great in coverage, and the Cardinals could use some coverage there in the middle. I know you got Hicks, but you could use a little more. You get eaten up by them tight ends a little too easily. And then Jaguars, back on the clock. They're going to double dip on cornerback, Paulson Adebo. This is a guy I have a 3rd round grade on, but he's been receiving a lot of hype from other analysts or other draft sites that I've seen. They love his instincts, but I mean, he has some bad games on tape. That's what it is for me. He's got some impressive games, but against much better competition. So I do like his physicality. I do like I said, a lot of analysts like his instincts. So they go ahead because Boye is probably gone after this year anyway. So you got Diggs, you got Adebo, and Cleveland. They go safety. They could use a upgrade. They could use upgrade safety because Randall might be gone after this year. Might be asking for too much. Ashton Davis, he is a 1st round talent. He ends up falling here. So they go ahead. They jump on that. They get a little bit better in the secondary. And then the Jets, they finally get some offensive line talent. They get Creed Humphrey. Creed Humphrey had a rough last few games, but the guy in a particularly weak, especially weak interior offensive draft class, he's kind of like set himself apart among some of the rest. So I like this pick here. They get Epinesa, they get Humphrey, they address that offensive line. Bears, you get Jake Fromm. Now I know some of y'all, I know Bear fans, I ain't gonna like that, but it ain't Mitch. He ain't Mitch. He's like the polar opposite of Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky's got the arm talent. Fromm, he's a really good game manager, and he doesn't take risks. He won't lose you the game. He won't lose you the game like you, Mitch. I'm just saying, you get, and if anything, this lights a fire under Mitch Trubisky's butt, So they go ahead, they get Fromm. I like that pick there. Colts, they go ahead, they get Brandon Ayuk out of Arizona State. The guy is a playmaker. He is a threat. I think he's like 6'2" as well, so he's got a little size to him. They do need more playmakers at receiver, so they get that here. And the Bucks, they get Jamie Newman, another guy that I have a 3rd round grade on, but quarterbacks, they typically go a lot higher than where they're projected. So they get their insurance if Winston, and I assume they're going to franchise Winston if he ain't all that. Newman is a Bruce Arians type guy. The guy's got a ridiculously strong arm. He's extremely accurate on his deep balls. I really think he's probably going to stay for another year at Wake Forest, but that's yet to be seen, so I have him right here. 47, the Broncos, they go Shaun Wade at Ohio State. This guy is kind of a enigma. A lot of people are really high on his physical tools, his talent, but we haven't seen he projects to be an outside corner, yet he's played a lot in the slot. They're actually almost exclusively in the slot at Ohio State. He's very aggressive, and if you play on the outside in the NFL, if you're that aggressive, like with DeAndre Baker, you're gonna get penalized. So there are a few things I'm wary about, but you know what? The Broncos, they need to address the corner position, especially with Harris potentially becoming a free agent. And then the Falcons, they go Justin Jefferson. Follow me on this. I know Falcons fans are like, why are we going receiver? Well, listen, Julio is 30. I'm not saying Julio, he's probably far from done, but you lost you traded away Mohamed Sanu. So they go ahead, they get another big slot guy who eventually could, once Julio Jones is gone, you have Ridley and you have Jefferson there. So I like that. I think Jefferson's a good value. He's played bonkers if you didn't see that stinking Oklahoma game. Cowboys, they go Alton Robinson out of Syracuse. They go edge. This guy's kind of a traditional 4-3 type of guy. He's got great burst, and they could use not an upgrade, but you got Robert Quinn, who's he's kind of up there in years. So they just keep addressing that defense. And then Steelers aren't gonna like this pick, but Calvin Throckmorton out of Oregon, he's versatile. It's extremely versatile. He's played almost every position under the sun on that offensive line. And if you're Steelers, like, where do you go here? You could go, what, you want to go running back? You want to go receiver? You want to go linebacker? I don't think there's really a linebacker you want to pull from here. Dylan Moses is staying. So I ended up going with Calvin Throckmorton. I think he fits a position that could be of need because you got Marquise Pouncey. He had a pretty down year, and then you have also Roman Foster, who's going to be entering his 11th season in the league. So there is some good reason to go ahead and go Throckmorton here. And then Natane Moody from Fresno State going to the Bears. The interior of that line could use an upgrade. Kyle Long's he's been injury riddled, haven't been able to stay on the field. So they go ahead, they get Moody, a guy that could also play tackle, so he gives you a little versatility. And then the Rams, they need offensive line help. Their offensive line has played terrible this year. Samuel Cosme is one of the best zone blockers in this draft. He's perfect to their scheme. I honestly think he'll probably stay. And, the guy's got the versatility to play on the inside as well if they want him to. And then Jalen Reagor, man, how do you fall to the Eagles here? The Eagles are jumping on this. This is basically Deshaun Jackson 2.0 minus a few inches. Again, dude, it's the it's the draft. Players fall. The receiving class is extremely deep this year. And you're going to see teams, I assume you're going to see teams jump on other positions just because they're more scarce than the receiving class. They know they could come back to the receiving class, so there's going to be quality talent still there. I mean, this Friday, I'm going to be releasing my top wide receiver rankings video, and it's kind of ridiculous because I did a top 40, and it's ridiculous the talent in this draft. Just saying. Titans, they get A.J. Terrell out of Clemson. With Logan Ryan, he's a free agent. Malcolm Butler, what are you gonna do with him in the next few years? You just add depth to a position that you want to have depth at. And the Buffalo Bills, they go Tyler Johnson out of Minnesota. Only biggest question with Tyler Johnson is a lot of people are like, oh well, he drops balls. And it's like no, calm down, reel back. Literally a majority of his drops come in like little, I won't say spurts, but randomly he'll have like a 3-drop game every here and there. He's a very consistent receiver, so don't give me that. And they're looking for another guy that's not Beasley and Brown, and they haven't really been able to find it yet. So you might have it with Jones. And then Neville Gallimore out of Oklahoma going to Minnesota. I really think this is a good pick. Linval Joseph's getting the guy, honestly, he's a season or two away from retiring, and you don't really have much after that. I liked what I've seen from Armon Watts, the rookie out of Akron, I believe, or maybe it was Arkansas. Can't remember. It was one of those A schools, but and then Shamar Steven, he's been okay. But you get a real baller right here. This guy he will be a second rounder, mark my words. Texans, they go Bradley Anae out of Utah. I was kind of flipping between him and Zach Bond from Wisconsin, but I went with Bradley here because he's a technician. I know they just re-signed, what is this face? Whitney, it's on the tip of my tongue, but I know they just re-signed their other pass rusher, but they could use another. They could go corner, but they've thrown a lot at corner, trying to get that position in check. I think they really need to get when Watt's gone, when he's not on the field, they have no pass rush. They have no means of getting to the passer, so they get a guy here who. He's solid. Then Seahawks, they go Xavier McKinney out of Alabama. The guy, honestly, I think he might end up being a corner. And you know what? There's the Seahawks. They love taking those safeties and converting them to corner. They love their big corners. So I see McKinney being a solid pick here. Atlanta, you get your edge rusher or your guy next to Grady Jarrett. You get Marlon Davidson. He's a monster. He's been. Yes, Derek Brown is good, right, for Auburn. Marlon Davidson has been the star on that defensive line. He's been a stud. He's been constantly harassing the quarterback. He's one of my favorite guys in this draft. And then the Dolphins, they go offensive tackle. They get Austin Jackson, not Lawrence, out of USC. The guy, he's very raw, but immense physical talent. So that's why you're in the second round, because you don't got it all together yet. But he very well can, and he could be a future Pro Bowl tackle. And then the Chiefs, they're going Cameron Dantzler out of Mississippi State. I was actually tempted to draft Dantzler with Kansas City's first pick, but I ended up not. I'm glad to see him back around for their pick here. He is just, dude, he's dominated the SEC. He's probably one of the best. He is just phenomenal. Like I said, he's shut down game after game any SEC receiver coming his way. And if you didn't know, the SEC is kind of good. So Cameron Dantzler, solid pick here. Kind of helps the Chiefs because they got a lot of free agents there in the secondary. And then the Packers go Trey Adams. Trey Adams, I've talked immensely about Trey Adams and my concerns with him. So, but I mean, I won't deny the talent that is there. But you got Balaga being a free agent. You just go in and get a guy that can basically plug and play at this point. And then Seahawks back on the clock. Raekwon Davis out of Alabama. Oh, so much potential, so much talent. But it seems he's just kind of plateaued. But you know what? If anyone could get this guy to play to his skill, I think it'd be the Seahawks. So they got a lot of free agents there on the defensive line. So they go ahead, they get Davis. And then last pick here in the second round is going to be Baltimore. They're going to get Hamza Nazir-Ildeen. I think I got that right. But this is another guy that I think could end up being a linebacker, but he's been phenomenal. He's been, outside of Marvin Wilson, the best player on that Florida State defense. He's been phenomenal. You could play this guy as a nickel linebacker or dime linebacker. He just gives a lot of versatility, and you start getting guys on that Baltimore defense because, like I said, they've been scheming a lot of pressure. They've been scheming a lot on there, so you get chess pieces, guys you could kind of move which in every way, you know. So yeah, that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube things. Much appreciated, much obliged. Like I said, I got the receiving rankings coming out Friday, so be sure you check out that. And yeah, till next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.